Hey guys, welcome to the LGBTQ Voice. My name is Traci Welch. I'm so excited tonight. We're going to be talking about, I know in the intro or the event page I posted, we're going to talk about disabilities. There's actually families and children who have youth with special needs. One of the other guests wasn't able to make it tonight, so we're just going to talk about special needs and what's going on in the community. So we're very fortunate tonight to have members of Family Ties. The director is Pat Cameron to my left, and Donna Chaplin, who I actually met this summer at Fort Taber, I believe.
Fort Taber.
Yeah,
yes.
they had a summer event going on there, and the network was one of the vendors that was there. As you guys know, I'm going to set this up, make sure I get it right. If you have any comments, you have any questions, any concerns, you know you can hit us up. I'm just trying to get it up. I do this every week, guys, so it just takes that second. And once we get there, we're good to go. And hopefully we're good to go. See, there we go. Screwed up again. Sorry, guys, I only got one hand. We're working it. So we're live and we're ready to go with any comments that people have. So people are already watching us. I appreciate that. So if I have a friend in common, their name shows up.
Right.
So I know who's watching and whatnot. So again, I met Donna this summer at the event, and I want to kind of let people know what is a definition of special needs. If anybody wants to kind of.
It really runs the gamut.
Yeah.
If there's a legal definition, which is if a child, toddler, an adult of any age falls within 10 disability categories, then they're eligible for services. But there are certainly people who have mitigating circumstances beyond that, which may create a health need or severe allergies, something that doesn't impede their functioning in one or more areas of their development, but does need some accommodations in the workplace, in school, healthcare plans, in child care, and across the lifespan.
I mean, I think it's amazing that there's groups and organizations that are out there. I'm glad that we're going to be able to have resources and you guys are going to be able to kind of help people get the help that they feel they may need. So what's the most common special needs that you guys assist with?
Our funding requires us to assist with children with special health care needs, but our mission is a broader net in that we serve children and youth up to age 22. Who need support whether it's in their respite care, whether it's in recreational programs, whether it's helping parents advocate for educational services within districts, and what kinds of services would help that family live a fuller life.
So I know you had a question you want to add?
And also,
yeah, please.
We are also the Central Registry for Early Intervention.
That's right.
So
that's right. So parents who find out that their newborn or their toddler, as they're developing, perhaps isn't hitting some of the milestones at the rate that some children do, we provide that link to early intervention programs. Anybody can refer to early intervention. Oftentimes, the pediatrician may suggest to the family, give Family Ties a call, and we can hook them up with the early intervention program in their hometown.
Well, I know we talked offline about what's the earliest age, and you said
prenatal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right from birth. Let's see. What age is so what is the? You already said it. You already answered my question. 22. I had questions already set up. She already got that one. I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. So what are some of the hurdles that some of the youth face with special needs?
Well, why don't you add some of your experiences?
Yeah.
I think resources, accessibility. We have parents call, they're looking for play groups. I had a father call just recently. His wife was, I think she was 32 to 34 weeks pregnant, and they knew that the child had Down syndrome, and they were looking for support now. Yep. They wanted to go to support groups in the area, so I was able to find that for them. So it truly varies from case to case and family to family. Sometimes it's something just as simple as a parent looking for a play group for a child that may be deaf, who's never been around another child that wears hearing aids, or who cannot hear, or who signs. Or it can be a mom who has a new diagnosis of cerebral palsy, and she's looking for support for her family. So it varies from case to case. But the nice thing is that we have a book of resources to help our families.
When you showed me that book earlier, it's just so amazing. The network who host, well, you know, we host a show here. The South Coast LGBTQ Network is the one who represents the LGBTQ Voice. And we're working on our own resource guide, so people know where they can go. Or we're actually working on, if you go to some places, the Better Business Bureau put signs up, AAA may say it's AAA approved. We're looking at something that says the South Coast LGBT Network says that this is, you know, a safer place to be for folks that are LGBTQ. Right. So I think Eileen Dugas, our network coordinator, is working on the resource guide. So that way we'll have it online and we'll have a hard copy, you know, to be able to put out and about, because obviously it changes quite a bit.
Yes, it does.
We update ours annually.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we just actually did our community needs assessment, so we can maybe add some more, you know, tidbits to that. So we talked about, you know, the youth, so we talked about offline the siblings. So what are some of the difficulties some of the siblings have, you know, with, you know, their brother or their sister having special needs? What about me syndrome, you know?
I think one of the things that I find and I hear from parents is that they feel like the children that don't have a disability is being left behind. So we actually find sibling groups for them. They're called sib shops. There's a whole website around that. Our resource directory covers on a state and national level. We can find support groups for the kids. We can find activities for the kids to actually, the siblings to actually go to as well. So I think that's very helpful for the parents, so that they feel that they're not leaving one child behind. And being a mother of of 2 children who have special needs, it's hard. It's hard when you're really laser focused on the child that presents the most need as a mother, and then to think that the other 2 kids are not, you know, giving your full attention to. So it is hard, and I like that we're able to alleviate some of that stress off parents.
Yeah, and I can speak to my own personal experience. I have 2 children, they're in their 30s now, but growing up, we had to make a real concerted effort to create a balance, so that my daughter, who has disabilities, required a lot of doctor appointments and out of the home opportunities, and we made sure that my son had just as many opportunities to participate in sports and to travel and to do things that engaged him in the community as well. So we tried to alleviate that feeling of being left behind, or that he didn't get as much attention. But it's a tricky balance. You really have to be very, very cognizant.
Because you don't get it right now, you're going to hear it 20 years from now.
That's right, that's right.
My brother always jokes at family dinner. So you guys didn't have one
You were the favorite.
Yeah. No, I was not. I was 4th on the list. It's whatever it happens to be. So you said there's like resources available. I know if you go on your website, and I peeked real quick, on the right-hand side there's like a topic sheet. I thought it was cool. It had autism, complex medical needs, emotional support, grief in our lives, medical equipment, public benefits, recreation and fun. So what is there a summer camp? Is there workshops or programs that are available for families?
All of the above.
Yes.
We really have topic sheets that zero in on a particular disability or a particular topic, like recreation, camping. The one we're coming up with now is grandparents raising grandchildren.
They actually going to be hopefully in another 2 months or the next month. I got their card too at the same event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we've talked about that, how many grandparents are actually raising their own grandkids and whatnot. We do have a comment from somebody. It says stop mainstreaming delusion. I'm not sure exactly what that is. So Isaiah, if you want to comment professionally and nicely about what that means, we'd be more than glad to address it. But if not, then we'll kind of let it go. I'm not sure exactly what that means. We have a lot of thumbs up and a lot of hearts that just kind of keep flowing up through here. So you guys will see that when you go home later if you want to watch yourselves back on the show. Yeah, we talked offline, guys, at my foster brother Andy's special needs, and just, you know, seeing his development and him growing up through the years. Sometimes, you know, you don't really notice things, but sometimes you do. And after a while, it wasn't, you know, just like, oh, it's my foster brother. You don't say, oh, you don't address my foster brother's special needs.
Right.
You know, so like, what are the stigmas that people go through with having special needs children?
Well, I think like any child growing up, whether you've got a special need or not, it's making sure that they maintain a really healthy self-esteem. Right. And, you know, and to be really an integral part of that family. And not to be felt like they're a burden. And so it's really an opportunity to practice love in the greatest sense And hopefully people have their extended families around, have the support of either support groups or play groups, things like Special Olympics, opportunities where that child with the special needs gets to excel.
Well, we talked about my foster brother, Andy. He was in Special Olympics. He was in the Falmouth Road Race. He did cross country at the high school, Bourne High School. So he thrived where he could, he just loved to run. There he goes, just let him go, he just ran and ran and ran. Somebody else commented on Isaiah's post, so I won't have to read it. You guys will read it later. Basically, it says stop watching then if you don't want to see it. Again, this is the LGBTQ voice, and not everything we talk about is always gay related, but we say that 1 in 10 people average are gay, and you were saying that 1 in 12 have a special needs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the statistics that kind of go out there. Again, it's the LGBTQ voice. So, again, each week we talk about different things. And next week's show, we're going to have Cape Cod Pride. They're going to be actually, you guys probably don't know this, but years ago they used to have a Cape Cod Gay Pride, and now it's called Cape Cod Pride. They're back at the Highness Village Green. So there'll be a guest on our show next week, and we're hoping to have our show on our elders next week. So each show we're going to talk about that impacting the LGBT community, but the community at large, guys. So, the comments, if you don't like what you're seeing, turn it off. It's that simple. So I know we're going to talk about this, but Sunday was 2 days ago. So we actually had our winter film series, folks, and we saw Cloudburst. And if you haven't seen Cloudburst with Olympia Dukakis, get your tissue ready and make sure you've gone to the bathroom because you're going to be laughing a lot. What a great movie it was. And Amy from the Standard Times was there, and she actually did an article, and it was in today's paper. It was basically like 5 things to kind of look at what happened in the community. And South Coast LGBT Network was one of them. So what a great, hey, my thing went away. What a great article in the paper on the network and what's going on. I have no idea why my thing went away. It usually doesn't, so let me pop that up, guys, and I'll get right back to you. If I had 2 hands, maybe it'd be a little bit easier. And I can't see what's going on. Well, maybe I'll have to leave it at that and see what happens. That went away. All right, so we're back. Sorry, guys. So we're talking about special needs youth, young adults, because up to 22, and what's going on in the community. So I know we're going to talk about disabilities for a minute. There's intellectual disabilities, physical disabilities, mental illness was one, and sensory disabilities is stuff that I had looked up. And some of those are, you said they both go back and forth. There could be special needs with a disability, things like that. Sorry guys, I only got my one arm today. I'm not doing very well.
Yeah, so, oftentimes the terms are used synonymously.
Yes. So I'm just going to read what we kind of looked up. Intellectual may mean difficulty communicating, learning and retaining information, IQ below 70. The median IQ is 100. Significant difficulty with daily living, such as self-care, safety, communication, and socialization. People may process information more slowly than others, have difficulty managing daily living skills, and also may have difficulty with abstract concepts such as money and time. An intellectual disability may be caused by a genetic condition, problem during pregnancy and birth, health problems or illness, and environmental factors. So when I saw the environmental factors, I actually researched what some of those were. Because you didn't ever think about it, but it's trauma, alcohol, drugs, having meningitis, measles, malnutrition. I mean, you're
lead paint poisoning.
Yep. And funny, I'm a foster parent. First thing do you have lead paint in your house? I'm like, well, then you can't have a kid. You can't do this. So I'm like, we don't think about those things. And we also talked about my foster daughter yesterday that we don't get sick as much as adults as you guys do as youngins because we eat dirt. We were outside. We were outside playing. You guys don't even know what outside means anymore. Then we talked. One of the things I looked up is drug and alcohol when you're pregnant. That goes into the kids. And Down syndrome. So Down syndrome is not a disease or illness. It is a genetic disorder which occurs when someone is born with a full or partial extra copy of chromosome 21 or DNA. People with Down syndrome can have a range of common physical and developmental characteristics, as well as higher than normal incidence of respiratory and heart conditions. Physical characteristics can include a slight upward slant of the eyes, a rounded face, and a short stature.
Well, I'd just add to that they look
Please.
more like their families than they don't. So my daughter happens to have Down syndrome, and so she has the same hair color as the rest of her family, the same eye color as the rest of her family. And so it's interesting because I think, what you described are some of the more medical descriptions. But, when you look at the variety of kids with Down syndrome, they look an awful lot like their family.
Whenever for birthday of Cape Cod, we worked with, I had 2 individuals that did our dining room, grabbed the tables and whatnot. I still remember, it was like 30-something years ago, but Shirley and Chuck. Chuck would forget to get his ride out every day, because somebody would come by a bus and pick him up. But every day, Thursday at 3 o'clock, he'd pull my sleeve. Thursday, payday. I'm like, Chuck. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll get you check. But he would forget. Did you stock the napkins? Shirley, like, no, payday, 3 o'clock, payday. It's, I loved working with Chuck and Shirley. Oh my God. One thing with Tedeschi's is we actually work with Best Buddies,
Yes.
Clubhouse Coalition. That was my Burger King days, Clubhouse Coalition. I actually did CORD, which is, God help me, I think it's Cape Organizations. I can't remember anymore. But we actually hired high school kids that never had a job before that had special needs and disabilities at all the Tedeschi's in the Cape for the summer. And they actually received a grant, and we didn't pay their payroll. So they would come to the Tedeschi's, and they would work for us, and the grant actually paid for them. So I had a franchisee that's like, I don't want anybody working for me. I said, but Bob, they pay for them. Oh, well, wait, talk to me some more. Tell me about that. I can remember. Tell me about that.
It's not going to cost me anything.
No, it's not going to cost me anything. So you have a couple of people saying hi. Heather says hi, and Nate says hi to me. Sorry, guys. Hi, Nate. You know Nate. Yeah, Nate's one of our people that go to Pride Cafe, and he actually was at the movie series yesterday. And what a great, you guys said, it's a great movie it was. If I ever see it again, I'll definitely have to get my tissue. So physical disabilities may affect either temporarily or permanently a person's physical capacity and or mobility. And as acquired brain injury due to damage that happens after birth, blow to the head, stroke, alcohol, drugs, infection, disease such as AIDS or cancer, and lack of oxygen.
Car accidents, motorcycle accidents.
Car accidents,
bicycle.
Yeah.
I work for SMAC, which is Southeastern Massachusetts Educational Collaborative now, and I job coach people with disabilities. But my last job, I did community support. So I'd go to one of our guys' house, and he had traumatic brain injury. And every day he'd forget, it is what it is, he lost it. He doesn't remember how to turn his password, doesn't know his password, doesn't know how to turn his computer on. So every day I would just go in, okay, you're all set. Everybody's name is Fred, because I don't like saying names. So Fred, I'd be like, Fred, yep, you're all set. I had one girl, and she would forget, she just told me something. And I'd be like, oh, I called my 51st date. It's like, what? I said, she'll just tell me now. I'm like, oh my God, that's terrific, And I get people walking, let's play Monopoly, let's talk every week. I know it's hard to believe this, but every Saturday I did her nails. Every Saturday, I'm not a girly girl, I'm not. But I'm like, listen, I'll do your nails, save your money, let's do it. Okay, let's do it. So I did her nails every Saturday. And I think people just need to, it's normal, it's acceptable. People are people. And again, you're of color and I'm fat. Who cares? You know what I mean? We all wear glasses. Look, we have similarities. We're all wearing glasses, But if you have to dive deep to see, that there's difference, I think that's the problem that people are facing. Spinal cord injury was one that I had looked up. Can be injured if too much pressure is applied and or if blood and oxygen supplied to the spinal cord is cut. And then there's paraplegia, which is loss of function below the chest, and quadriplegia, which is loss of function, below the neck. I know my twin at one point watched 2 brothers that had, quadriplegia, and but the family was there, and this is what we can do, what we can help, what we can do. And I think, the resources and getting people together and understanding, that's one of the things that, that I love about this show, that we can have people come on the show and let people know, because people don't have all those resources available.
Right.
So if I'm Joe Schmo, and I'm, my kid's, 9 months old, and I'm like, wow, Fred hasn't developed the same as Frederica, what do I do? I'm like, oh, well, maybe they're just a little bit slower, maybe because the second child, and, whatever it has to be, when should I say, I think there might be a problem? Yeah, what should I
That's
do?
an individual decision for every
Right.
family. And, you know, and I think particularly if they're raising their children alone, they don't have their extended family, you know, it's difficult to make that first phone call or to talk to your pediatrician about it. But we encourage families to ask questions because we don't know what the answer may be. The child can get tested for hearing, and it could be a simple hearing, you know, instance where there's wax buildup, and it could be remediated.
Yep.
And so it's really important for everybody to be asking those questions of their pediatrician, of their child care provider, wherever that child is spending their day, so that help can be, you know, sought.
Yeah.
And, you know, when they can seek out the resources.
So you guys are funded by DPH?
We are funded by the Department of Public Health,
Yes.
and we are charged with connecting families to those resources.
Now, I know that we're here in Massachusetts, but are there, is family ties in other states as well? Or is it just a Massachusetts base?
There's some form of family ties in other states. Every state is required to connect families to services. And so the states will call it different things. But in Massachusetts, it's family ties.
Now, would you border, like if I live like right around Rhode Island border and I want to do a Massachusetts base, or is it just Rhode Island, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, or?
No, we would help connect them to their Rhode Island resources.
Yeah. Well, sometimes people like other people's places better than they like their own. So I was like, you know, can I come over to you? What's going on? Let's see, Ruthie says hi, Tracy. Angel says hi, Tracy. Sorry, looking for you guys. Did you tell people you're coming on the show?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, come on!
We
You can
did.
say hi, people. It's okay. It's good. Yeah, we got some thumbs up, some hearts going out there still. You know, people
Yes,
are
we did.
kind of showing it up. So I'm going to kind of tell you guys some news going on in the community. So tomorrow night, we've had people from the Fairhaven Council on Aging on our show before. You guys have met Tom, you've met Connie. Joe Quigley sometimes might do it. But tomorrow night is their monthly supper club. So it is at 229 Huddleston Ave. It's the last Wednesday of every month. And I'm actually going to be there tomorrow night. I was supposed to be there last month to talk to them because we're going to be having I'm not sure if it's going to be monthly, but it's going to help Mature Matters. Our elders don't want to be called old. They don't want to be called seniors. They want to be called mature.
Very nice.
So we're going to have a segment called Mature Matters, and every month find out what's going on with the LGBTQ elders in our community and what they're facing and any events, things like that are coming up. So I'm going to be there tomorrow night talking to them. And yesterday hi Jenna, at the movie we had, they had said, anybody can go tomorrow. Come on, we want to get people in our community to go. So, you know, again, you know, you can start there tomorrow night. And March 13th at St. Peter's Episcopal Church in Dartmouth, they have an pasta night, an LGBTQ social gathering pasta night. And that's at 351 Elm Street in Dartmouth. And I know Andy Pollack, who's been on our show, and he actually joined the board. We're going to be going there, and we were actually asked to speak. So I'm not sure what we're going to say yet, but we're going to be doing that. And we have one huge announcement. AJ, can you put up that flyer, please, or both flyers? And I'm going to get my notes out because I got one hand and not enough going on. Thank you so much. So you guys got some education today, ladies. It's the 50th anniversary of Stonewall.
Yes.
So 50 years ago, it was, if I was at a bar, or I was out in the street, I'd be arrested. Because I do not have 3 articles of women's clothing on that you could see. I'd be arrested. That was the law 50 years ago. 50 years ago, it was illegal to be gay. If I got arrested, my name would be in the paper, my picture may be in the paper, and I would lose my job, but I would lose my housing. Because you could just get that right off the bat. So at this particular bar that was mafia owned and run, they would pay the police off to leave the patrons alone. Just leave them alone, leave them alone. Well, the police would still come in and would bother the patrons in the bar. So what they would do, the lights would flicker, you know, the police were coming in the bar, and people would just stand up against the line and have their IDs ready. The cops just kind of went around, bothered a couple of people, and they would leave. Well, over and over and over again, they're like, we're done, we can't do this anymore. So Liza Minnelli had passed away, and there was a memorial service for her. And a lot of people just wanted to go out and, you know, celebrate her life or her death, if you want to look at it that way. And this one particular night, there was over 200 people in the bar. And it was a very small place. It was packed wall-to-wall people. And the police came to the bar. And they don't know who it was that said, no, I'm done. There's 2 different stories. One was they carried a lesbian out, and the police were manhandling her, and the drag queens fought back. I mean, there's a couple of different things, because who knows what happens when 200 people in the bar. and they fought back. Well, next thing you know, the police were in the bar, and the gay people were all outside, and they were holding the people in, the cops in, and there was a raid for, could be, 5 days or so. The history's a little bit different. Some people say, well, 3 days, some people say 6 days, but it was a riot that happened. And since then, Pride is in June every year now, because June 28th, 1969. So it's the 50th anniversary of Stonewall. We actually have a Stonewall veteran coming to New Bedford, having a speaking engagement for the community. It's going to be at the New Harbor Hotel on May 31st, kickoff to Pride. So May 31st, and the information's up there on our screen. Hi, Kelly says hi. Hi, I'm not sure if Kelly's for all of us or Kelly's for me, but hi, Kelly. What a great event to be able to sit there and listen to somebody who was in there. So the Stonewall veterans, say that the 200 people that were in there, you're a veteran. If you were out in the street, it's a different, you were there, but you weren't inside trying to fight for your life to get out. And the story from David Velasquez Bermudez is going to be one of our guests, and his husband. Just to sit and hear a story, I was granted, gracious that they hosted me in their home. I've actually heard the story, and just to sit there and have that one-on-one. So the sponsorship that was up on the page will be, if you want to have a dinner with them, one-on-one with the people that are main sponsors, a $500 sponsor and a $1,000 sponsor. You get, I'm going to read it all, ready? A VIP dinner meet and greet. We're actually going to have you stay at the hotel for the night. 2 tickets to the event. There's a Stonewall 69 baseball cap that's going to be available, an autograph photo, a banner at the event, name of your business publicly recognized, and there's a half-page ad in the recognition for the sponsorship. Let's see. The 500 plus is the VIP meet and greet with 1 ticket for the dinner, the Stonewall cap and autograph, and a quarter-page ad. We also have a $100 donation. If you can't make it, donate $100, and that goes to a scholarship, and we can get tickets to our youth and seniors in the community that may not be able to afford it. The tickets are $25, so you'd be like an audience seating from 6 to 9, and we're going to have appetizers, there's a cash bar, and we're going to have a door prize. But he's actually you're going to actually sit there and listen to his story about the day that what happened to him at Stonewall. And what an amazing story it is. A lot of the veterans aren't with us anymore, they're dead. I mean, 50 years ago, AIDS hit. I mean, all the people have gone from AIDS. But David, like I said, they had me at their home, they made me lunch, and just to sit there and hear their story was amazing. So he's going to be there, and we're looking forward to having that, as well as, what else is there? It's the 50th anniversary of marriage equality in Massachusetts. So we're going to actually recognize people that were involved and instrumental in that from 15 years ago. So we've invited some people to come to that night, and we're actually going to, honor folks that helped 15 years ago. And what else is there, Tracy? Oh my God, there's more. In 1989, 30 years ago, so it's our 30th anniversary, Massachusetts prohibited discrimination against sexual orientation in housing and public accommodations. So there's a three-peat, if you want to call it. There's a 3 celebration night that we're going to be having. But to have it at the New Harbor Hotel and to kind of commemorate our Pride is June 1st. So every year in New Bedford we have our own Pride. So I'm very fortunate to have David come and support us. And he's already going to be everywhere because it's the 50th anniversary, as well as New York Pride. It's their 50th anniversary. And there's a gay pride all over the world. It's called Interpride. And every year they have it in a different country. And this year it's actually in New York.
Oh, nice.
So, I mean, we have so much going on in the Northeast right now. Ruthie said she'll be there. I will be there, Ruth. I will be there. I've never been to New York Pride. Years ago in the 90s, I was on Cape Cod Gay Pride Committee. And I worked for Burger King Cape Cod. To get one Saturday off in the summertime, to get more than that was not good. So I've never been. And all through the years, I'm like, oh, I should go. And David actually said I could go up and maybe stay with them and kind of figure out accommodations. So I already told my job I'm going to be in New York for their Pride because it's just going to be just an amazing event. So if you guys know anybody that may want to sponsor this event, all the money and proceeds goes to the programs that we do. So you guys, if you've been on the show and heard the show before, on Mondays we have Pride Cafe, excuse me guys, which is 484 Pleasant Street in New Bedford. It's an 18+ group. It's a social day, a social night. It could be board games, just people talking, hanging out. It could be a specific movie night. Tuesdays we're here, so there's nothing going on at the center. Wednesday there's yoga. What time?
6:30 to 7:30.
6:30 to 7:30, and they do like a 6-week program. So it's tomorrow night's the end of this 6 weeks, and it's free. It's free. Is it free? It's free. You know that new commercial right now? Free, 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 free.
That's right.
Free, 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 free. It's free. And then Thursdays is our NB Adley night. It's a New Bedford Alliance of Gay and Lesbian Youth, ages 14 to 24. And we actually have like a structured first hour, and we are, God help me, educational. It could be condom demonstration, and the parents don't want to hear that. It could be internet safety. It could be, how to deal with, you being out, your friends not being out, you dating somebody that is out, you're not out, whatever it happens to be, and then we end up with a game night, the rest of it being a game night. Thursday, Friday, we have nothing going on right now, nothing on Saturdays. However, with yesterday's talk at the movie, again, we had that discussion, we thought South Coast Hospital had an LGBTQ grief, what do you call it, support group.
Mm-hmm.
And someone said they didn't. Somebody in the audience was like, what do you mean they don't? We heard they did. So because we have Friday nights open now and we have Saturdays available, we may be doing a support group out of the center now for that. Because it's tough. I mean, you can go, you can go to a heterosexual one, but you understand where I'm at, So we're hoping, that kind of came out from the meeting yesterday, so we're kind of hoping to do that. And Sundays, I call it our gay AA. It's Sobering Out. So Sundays at 9 a.m. It's a group for everyone to, you don't have to be gay to go to gay AA, I just call it that. It's called Sobering Out, and it's and I don't know how many people will go to the group because you have to be AA to go to the group, so I don't actually stop in and peek through the windows or whatever, see how many people are there. But there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the community right now. Sorry, I'll go back to you guys now. So, all right, somebody said awesome again. So, hello, everybody. So, do you guys have events that you raise money, or everything comes from DPH, or?
I'm really glad you brought that up, because I was going to say, we have events too.
See, but you have to go back to my email. I would have sent it. See, I told you.
Yes.
It's her fault. Because we would have posted it. Go ahead.
Actually, we do have a big conference coming up on March 9th, and it's the Vision of Communities Conference, being put on by the Federation at the Seaport Hotel. Seaport World Trade Center in Boston, and that is a wonderful, wonderful conference for children, or families of children and partners of kids with special needs. And that, once again, is happening on Saturday, March 9th.
Oh, wow. Now, is it free for the families to go? Is there a door charge, or what do you want to call it?
There is a registration fee, there is a registration fee.
But there are scholarships available.
And there are scholarships available. But
there's childcare being provided for a small fee, as well as simultaneous translation in 6 different languages.
That was our other thing. I saw that in the thing, Portuguese. I was like 6 different languages. I forgot to write that down. God. Yeah, 6 languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't imagine. And what about sign language?
At ASL, if it's requested.
Yeah, if it's requested.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's some events that we do at the Providence Eagle in Providence, and they have a lot of some gay deaf folks that go, and they always have an interpreter.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think it's amazing that people think ahead. They have it ready. Somebody else was doing an event, and they said we have to cancel the event. The interpreter couldn't make it, so they canceled the event and had it a different night. I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
It's like tonight. If you guys weren't here, I'd be like, well, it's me again. There's certain things you can do that for, but there's some, folks just need support. So, what's the website? Like, if somebody wants to get that form and whatnot, how do I get to it? Besides calling, Family Ties.
fcsn.org/VOC.
Can you say it again? And
Oh, look at the camera. I'm so
AJ,
sorry.
can you write this up on the
Yes.
on the thing?
It's fcsn.org/VOC, and that's the Visions of the Community Conference coming up March 9th.
One more time?
Visions of the Community Conference.
Give the whole website again.
Oh, I'm sorry. fcsn.org/VOC.
And the FCSN stands for Federation for Children with Special Needs. So even if they Googled that, they'd get to our website.
Yes.
So your events are for people for resources. So you don't you don't get donations for people to help DPH like we would, like we're a 501c3. You're state funded, so obviously with $1 million they gave you guys $100 million, you take it out.
Well, the Federation does write other grants. Family Ties is the only thing that's funded by Department of Public Health.
Yes.
So our program has specific funding. But the Federation is a much broader organization. There's a lot of training with the special education world, whether it's working with school districts around educating, bless you.
Thanks, guys.
Educating children what the laws are,
Right.
and then really working with families about what their children are entitled to.
Now, what about the training with schools? I mean,
That's-
mainstream kids, some kids are mainstream.
It's called a bunch of different things.
Yeah. So tell me about it.
The word du jour is inclusion, and it is what it says. It's kids are included with their typical peers, typically developing peers. And so, the caller who was asking, it's been called different things over the years, and mainstreaming is almost like you come in and visit, but you leave again. You don't truly belong. But inclusion is you belong. And so the services that we, try and offer families is to really have their children included to the extent possible. There will always continue to be a myriad of services that cover the spectrum. Some kids are successful being included, and some kids, their disabilities warrant a much more structured program.
Well, my son growing up had, still does, ADHD, doesn't like goes away. But he was in special needs classes and then mainstreamed and then, back and forth until he didn't really need him anymore, I guess. He kind of developed enough and learned enough that he didn't have to go to the special needs classes. But I mean, I think for him, he liked it. He liked to be able to have that. And at other points, he hated being stuck in that one class. He was stuck all day. I'm like, Mom, I'm like, well, let's work on getting you to, and we didn't put him on any medications until he was in 9th grade. They wanted to put him on really minor bad, and I said, let's just see what happens. But I know we talked earlier about, when do you get your child tested or what you look for. And again, some people say ADHD hereditary, some people say it's not. But I saw the signs before he went to school. And my husband had it, my father-in-law, and I'm going, oh, hell no, he's getting tested now. But I we usually wait till the first year of school. I'm like, just please meet with him. So he met with me, he goes, I said, because he kept playing with everything, not paying attention, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. So right off the bat, we knew, and then behavioral modification we looked into. I think my favorite teacher I loved was she had a plastic cup, like a water cup, on his desk. Electrical. So when electricians work with wires, they have the little caps they cap them off with. She'd have a handful in her pocket. When Derek was doing really well, not disrupting the class, she'd pop one in and not say nothing, just walk around. When Derek wasn't doing very well, she'd just walk around and just take one out. And go, oh, he figured out I wasn't doing well. I was doing, what I shouldn't be doing. And at the end of the class, how many he had left over, he earned free minutes to do whatever he wanted to. He took his free minutes and he wanted to teach kids in the younger classes how to read.
Nice.
So so it was just certain things. So I think that was the best thing, as well as an organizational skills class. He took that, and to this day, he's like, well, wait, let me write it down. I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. Okay, well, you have a game plan. I think that, and again, what works for Fred might not work for my son Derek.
Right.
We talked, so during doing the research, the same thing, AAAA might not work for kid B, So tell us how you got involved with Family Ties.
Well, I'm brand new into this position, and
Wait, there's more.
and so I'm still learning. But having the parental personal experience of knowing what it's like to have a child with a disability, and the challenges and the struggles and and the victories that came along with her name is Beth, and came with raising Beth, really warranted me, and Donna and I have had this conversation too, to make sure that other families don't fall through the cracks and don't have some negative experiences. And so to be able to provide those resources and to make them aware of what's out there can curb all kinds of anxiety and loneliness. And so really, connecting families with that, those resources can be really helpful. I happen to have an education background, and so I bring a lot of what can happen well in schools as well.
So do you think the teachers are trained enough more training needs to be involved?
Well, for so long, we've had two educational systems. We've had a special education system and a general education system. We're doing a much better job training teachers in both fields, about both fields, because everybody was a specialist.
Yeah.
In the, the general education teacher knew the curriculum, and the special education teacher knew the strategies to apply to, the different learning styles. And the beauty of it is we are now in a really good inclusive environment marrying those two, so that a curriculum is married with the strategies for teaching.
Oh, cool beans. So how did you get involved?
I took the scenic route. Like I said, I have two children with learning disabilities, and my oldest daughter didn't meet any of her milestones, ever. She didn't pass her newborn hearing screen. She had a speech delay, and finally, and you asked the question, when should a parent decide to test? I think you have to trust your gut. And I think as a parent, I think inherently you know that something's not quite right. And I think at times you just have to trust your gut as a parent. But after years of my daughter just not doing well in school, I finally wrote the letter and had her assessed. And after years of advocating from what limited knowledge I had as a parent, I actually went to the Federation of Children with Special Needs, and I took the parent PTI training class, and basically it told me what my rights were around special education, how to advocate for, what to ask for, and I felt empowered. And after years of being, I was a hairdresser, by trade, I am a hairdresser. And after having a conversation with the client, she said, have you ever called the Federation? And the day that I called, the trajectory of my daughter's life changed. And it was just nice to have someone to listen to listen to me, and to hear that she was not having her needs met in school, but I just didn't know how to get her those services. And like I said, I did I think it's a 14-week training. I did the training, and it changed her life.
So I saw that when I was doing the research, the PT, you say it again. Is that a cost for somebody?
There is a cost, but there are always scholarships available.
And how many people take advantage of it?
Excuse me?
How many people take advantage of the courses?
I'm not quite sure the numbers, how many. I think the class that I was in 3 years ago, there were at least 30 participants. They're now being offered in different languages. They just started offering it in Spanish and Brockman, and I think they're going to do it in other areas throughout the region. But like I said, it's wonderful.
But people don't know the resources are there. I think, that's just so huge. Because we just did our community needs assessment, and I'll talk about it probably for the next several shows, that 38% of people do not realize they can get free HIV and STI testing. They have not a clue. They don't know where to go. I'm like, today, 38% were like, oh my God, we're not doing enough.
But that's the importance of shows like this.
Yeah, we're not. I'm like, oh my God, it's the killer. Let's see. So the fcsn.org.voc. If somebody wants information about the resources or whatnot, is that something else that they can email or just call them?
We have a second website.
Yeah.
It's Mass Family. What's our website?
Excuse me, Family Ties. www.massfamilyties.org.
Massfamilyties.org.
Okay, so I'm going to pull it out.
Yeah.
www.massfamilyties.org.
Yes.
The phone number is 1-800-905-TIES, which is 8437. And again, I know I talk fast. 1-800-905-TIES, T-I-E-S, which is 8437. So I want to make sure I do that. I save everything. You guys should see the stuff I save in my little bucket. But if I go to an event, like I said, I just grab stuff because you never know. And like I said, Dawn and I met, I guess, this summer. God help me. There's just so much going on. Let's see.
Yeah, and we have lots of resources on our website, that massfamilyties.org website. The topic sheets that you mentioned before, the resource guide is available for download. You can also request a written copy to be sent to you, as well as if you know of resources, you can submit them. So if you've come across a camp program that was particularly successful for your child, or a recreational program, an advocacy program, a health-related program, please fill that out, send it in. The only criteria for being in the guide is that they have to be a nonprofit.
Yeah.
And so, because we don't want to send parents out who are going to get, be charged exorbitant fees for services.
Yeah.
But all of the services in here come from either personal experience from somebody on staff or a parent's experience.
So are there after-school programs?
There's after-school programs in there. There are training programs for after-school staff. There's all kinds of, because if you just opening it up to the first couple of pages, it tells you the different areas that it covers. There's things on accessibility, advocacy, assistive technology and adaptive equipment, childcare resources and referral, community support programs, and inclusion, education, healthcare, housing assistance, independent living centers, information and referral services, legal services, recreation, respite and family support and skilled nursing programs, service animals. There's a section on that, if that's relative to you and your family. Specific conditions and disabilities, transition to adult programs, travel assistance, and then we have a whole list of state agencies whose job it is to focus in on specific disabilities or a particular age.
So I think that one thing that we've not talked about is our parent-to-parent program.
Yes.
And basically, what that means is if you are a parent of a child that has a disability and you're newly diagnosed and you want to talk to another parent who's walked your same walk,
Yep.
you can fill out a form. Our parent-to-parent coordinator, her name is Gloria Klaskis. You fill out a form, you submit it. She will scour the country and find another child with the same disability and link you two together just by phone.
Yep.
And you two can, bond
Yep.
and form a relationship and actually support each other. And actually, give you some insight of what's to happen next.
I think it's important to have these support groups. When I used to work for Bergen Head Cod, the one on Route 6 on the highway, if you're going through Hyannis, Barnstable, there used to be, before it was remodeled, we used to have a meeting room, and people would, it would be AA. Any organization, one of them was Parents of Twins. And I have an identical twin, and I'm like, oh my God, could you imagine if Mom and Dad were in that room if we were younger, I don't think people, again, understand what resources are available. I mean, it's just, it kills me. So, I don't know if it's personal or not. Can you tell us about, what it was like for your kids growing up with their special needs? Some of the hurdles they had? Or you as a parent?
I think for me as a parent, the biggest hurdle was, like I said, trying to have her needs met. At one point, my daughter was moving on to the 5th grade, reading at a second grade level. Yeah. And I just couldn't imagine how that was possible. How could she move on to the next grade level when she couldn't read at a 2nd grade level? And it wasn't until, like I said, I took the class, I knew what questions to ask. I had no idea that the Federation existed. And I said as soon as my time allowed, I was going to give back in some other way because I didn't want another parent to go through what I went through, trying to get her the help that she needed. So I think if anything, it empowered her. She's now a senior in high school.
Sweet.
She's going off to college. She's thriving. And I think as parents, that's what we all want. I think because we, as a family, we knew that what to look for in our other daughter. She was also diagnosed I have 2 children with dyslexia. Yep. And, like I said, we were able to be more proactive the second time around as opposed to reactive. And I think if anything, it just, you watch your kids grow and thrive. And I'm so proud of the young lady that my daughter has become. And I'm happy that we were able to get her help that she needed.
And what about yourself, Pat?
It's interesting because, we come from a little bit of different. There are some special needs that you can, a person can gain those sort of skills to compensate and to thrive. With my daughter, she has an intellectual disability, and so she's continues to learn. I don't want to say that she doesn't, continue to learn, but she's always going to have Down syndrome. She's always going to, be challenged with some daily living skills and, independent living, and she'll always continue to need support throughout her life. And so as she goes from one age to the next, as she went from the schools into adult services, there were huge transitions. And you went from having rights in education to really starting the battle all over again.
So are you saying with that when you're after the 22 age?
After 22, yep.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yep, leaving school at 22 and becoming part of the adult service system was very different. She was fully included in school, and now she's in a separate service program for people with disabilities.
So is it a support group for her for that?
Well, it's interesting. I augment the rest of her life by doing volunteering that's inclusive in the community. She's very involved in her church, and so we continue to find opportunities that where she's integrated into the community.
I love the word inclusive. I was talking to Jeff Costa. He's a fitness yoga guru in our community, and I actually stole his word from that. But our pride is inclusive pride. Inclusivity is a word that I've been using for the last 3 years now. South Coast, our network, took over New Bedford Pride, and we have it June 1st every year. And I always joke that I'm fat and happy, but we start with New Bedford Wellness. I do a 1.9 wellness walk around Buttonwood Park. Then Jeff Costa does yoga in the morning. To have everybody set up and you see all the rainbow balloons around everybody, it's an amazing, and then we have our Pride from 11 to 4. And this year we're actually going to be doing live graffiti art on one side. We're going to be having a farmer's market on the back end down, because we have a whole strip of Buttonwood Park. And whenever I hear the word inclusive, I always smile. I'm like, that's one of my words, inclusivity, inclusivity. Because, acceptance, people just don't see people the way that, my opinion, folks, the way people are people. We talked at the beginning, we're all wearing glasses, we got a similarity today, and we all showed up on time. Ooh, we have 2 similarities, I just think it's tough for the community. For example, at the last movie series, we were walking around and somebody kept staring at me. And I kept thinking, like when I was younger, and again, I have an identical twin, people stare at me, I'm like, again, yes, we're twins, yes, we're identical, yes, we think she's older, the same story. Well, the person, and I guess a trigger, or a little bit of a trauma, if you want to call it that, stays with me. So we're at the movie series, and this guy kept staring at me, and I'm thinking, does he think I'm a twin? And unfortunately, my foster daughter just had a stalker. So I'm on alert, and this guy keeps looking at me. Finally, I said something. I said, can you guys know who this guy is? Oh, he's just special needs. That's just the way he is. I'm like, okay, well, thank you for that, But I wasn't taking a chance. I didn't know who he was. I'm like, it was freaking me out. I needed to ask, Again, ask the questions that you need to ask. I didn't want to go up to him and say, Skinny, what are you doing looking at me? Because, God forbid, he may get upset with me. Who knows who he is? He may have a gun. I don't know what's going on. Especially today's society, I don't know. We can't trust a lot of people anymore that we used to be able to trust years ago. Kevin, what time is it?
It is 7:54.
7:54. See, that's not too bad. So if there's anything else I want to talk about before the events we have? Oh, the Standard Times. Did I say the Standard Times did an article yet? That was offline?
Not really, yeah.
So I did say it?
You did talk about that article.
Oh, I did? Okay, well, the Standard Times had an article on cloudburst yesterday, and it was definitely an amazing, and it tells you more about the 50th anniversary of Stonewall that we're going to be doing. So if I wanted a copy of the resource guide, like that whole big book, how do I get it?
All you have to do is call me.
Yeah.
Hey, I can just take that with me?
Call Donna. Like I
yes.
said, we're in the process of updating it. It'll be available at the conference
Yep.
next Saturday.
Yep.
And, but we order plenty that we can send them out to people's homes, or they can download it off the website.
Now, do you guys have any at the public libraries people can take out, or what's going on with that? Just a thought?
No, actually, like I said, I cover the Southeast. We met at the Fort Tabor,
Yep.
New Bedford Housing Authority Book Fair. I was there just passing out papers, flyers, and talking to as many people as possible. I have left information in one of the libraries, a couple of laundromats, so wherever I'm at, and
Somewhere.
I just stick things up wherever I go.
Well, one thing I like about the flyer, I know you guys can't see it, it says Family Ties, Directory of Resources. I kept going, then it had yours. It has like 6 different, 5 logos on it. so I couldn't figure out which one who was coming today. I'm like, well, Donna says DPH, but I was like, oh my God, who's coming?
We all work in Department of Public Health offices.
We joke about it, we wear with many hats, you know, I guess we have to, you know,
Yeah.
so we have to make sure that, you know, the needs are met, you
Yeah.
know? So do you want to end with anything tonight?
I would just encourage, if there's somebody out there who has questions about their children's development, to ask questions. You know, go with your gut, as Donna said, and either talk with your pediatrician, give Family Ties a call. You can get referred and, you know, evaluated for eligibility for early intervention at no cost. And, you know, when you can take it from there. But to really, you know, ask your questions, go with your gut, and, you know, as Donna had said too, get educated, find out what your rights are, and because this whole field of disabilities is really a civil rights issue, which mirrors the LGBTQ, you know, experience as well. It's all about what your civil rights are.
Okay. And on that note, once again, please check us out, www.massfamilyties.org. You can call me, my number, I'm the Southeast Regional Coordinator for Family Ties. My office number is 781-774-6602. New resource directory will be out next week.
Good.
We can also get one of those out to you. You can find it on our website as well. The Vision of Community Conference is coming up March 9th. That's Saturday, next Saturday. And also we sit, and there's 7 regional coordinators, and we sit in 7 different locations throughout the state. So if you know someone who needs help or who needs resources or services, please give us a call.
Definitely, 1-800 dial a friend.
Yes.
You know?
That's right.
You gotta be able to reach out, folks. All right, well, we appreciate you guys being on our show this week, and I think that's about it, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Thanks so
Bye
much
now.
for having us.
Thank you. I can leave you some information.